All right, so Jannik Sinner has announced that he is still one of the kids to watch on the block as he takes out Carlos Alcaraz in the final of Umag in the weird clay swing after Wimbledon before he hit the American hard courts. So his second win in a row versus Carlitos, and that's raised some eyebrows for a lot of people. There's a lot of questions being like, is Carlos slipping? What's he doing losing 2 times in a row to Jannik? So on this episode of The Slice, we're going to look at their two matches, what the kind of storyline is now, in my opinion, and what's more interesting. Carlos losing twice in a row or Jannik Sinner winning twice in a row. So here's The Slice. Let's get into it. It was a great match. So Alcaraz versus Sinner. Man, I hope, as I'm sure you do as well, that this is, one of the premier matchups of the next decade, 10 years on the men's tour, because I personally think the style contrast to these two guys and their talent levels is just so fun to watch. Carlos being like the already at 19-year-old super physical, super all-round tennis player, has basically everything in the bag. And then Jannik just having even maybe more power, forehand and backhand, playing like huge, a little bit taller, doesn't move quite as well, but can absolutely sting anyone from anywhere. And just they both seem like super nice guys. Anyways, so happy to see them play for a long time to come. And this was the final that we were all hoping for in Umag if you were following the tournament. Definitely the first and second seed, Carlos being the first, Jannik being the second. And it delivered, in my opinion. So if you're new here, this is The Slice. I'm Steven, and this is where we talk about tennis. So make sure you subscribe and click the like button if you like the video, and consider joining the channel for extra content just for you special people. So thanks for being here. So let's break down this kind of match in Umag, but kind of look at the storyline coming into it. So obviously, if we go back to Wimbledon, where they played in the fourth round, we had Sinner taking out Carlos. And that was a huge win for Sinner, I thought, because to me, I talked about it going into there. I was like, I wasn't sure who's going to feel more pressure. Carlos has the pressure to like make the quarterfinals to play Djokovic. And he's got, people have talked about him as the favorite to win the French Open, even one of the favorites at Wimbledon. But then there was Jannik Sinner, who I feel like people have kind of slowly been forgetting about, or slowly taking him off the pedestal as one of the absolute top, most exciting young guys in the game. He had that title for a while before I would say Carlos took it from him. Is there more pressure on Sinner to kind of keep up with Alcaraz in a way? And we saw what happened there. Sinner played such a good match, played very well, and beat Carlos pretty comprehensively on the grass with super big hitting, super good serving, and it was super an impressive match and win for Sinner, and kind of almost like a maybe kickstarting his 2022 season, which has been a bit of a tough one for him with injuries, etc. I think we saw in Wimbledon and in Umag for sure that we were reminded that Sinner has absolutely some of the scariest pace from both wings when he gets rolling, and when he's not missing a lot, when he's playing well and not hitting too many on first errors, that pace can seem like overwhelming to even the best of the best. Like even guys who can move, I would say Carlos Alcaraz is the fastest player on tour right now, and he can play amazing defense. We saw Sinner's offense be able to overdo that defense, and that's just super exciting tennis to watch. So Umag, the difference I thought would be on clay. Carlos moves a lot better, I think, and he's way more comfortable on there. We obviously saw what he did in Madrid. Just how good he is on the surface. I thought the advantage would go to Carlitos, and after the first set, which was pretty tight, first set went to a tiebreaker, and Carlitos did one of those crazy defensive Djokovic-esque points where he just locked down and got another ball back. Sinner missed the pickup, and it was just a crazy defensive get and point from Carlos. We kind of saw, this is Carlos taking it to another level here on the clay, and he ends up winning the first set. But then you see Sinner come back, and you see him not get rattled, and you see him break. He was actually, down one. I think it was 1-0. So Carlos had held, and then I think Carlos had 40 love, 3 break points against Sinner, and Sinner didn't crack there. And he held serve there, and then he won the next 6 games in a row to win that set 6-1. And then I think he won the third set 6-1 as well. So he kind of crushed Alcaraz there after that first set, which is so impressive from Sinner. If you think about it, you're a slightly older guy. You got that pressure, like I said, to play, to like get yours and win, and to still be in the conversation for the most exciting players. And then he was able to find that level, and Carlos wasn't in that moment in that final. Super impressive from Sinner. And in that takeover, where Sinner kind of really took over, and maybe Carlos faded a bit, and we'll talk about that. But we saw Sinner. The one thing that his forehand running out wide is the thing that really stands out to me as one of the biggest shots in all of tennis. Like, it's even a lot of times, when guys get pulled out wide, you kind of have to go aggressive if, you're really getting pulled out wide, because if you just loop it back in, you're just still on the run. So Jannik likes to do that. When he gets pushed out wide, he'll just take a crack at it, and he can go up the line. But I notice his forehand cross court is sometimes the one he goes for, where he's kind of slaps it almost. But it looks just like so well timed and automatic that it doesn't even look like a risky shot for him. It looks like he just pops it. It's like a Conor McGregor just like knockout shot. He's got that knockout power from the forehand wing, definitely moving to the right, but then really from anywhere on baseline, because he's just so big off both wings, open stance, both wings. So he saw that, and that was where we saw the kind of pace and the form from him be almost like overwhelming to Carlos. It looked like in a bit. So the form that Sinner played there was awesome. The match was still awesome, but Carlos faded a little bit, I think. And that's where the question for me comes to Carlos's reaction to pace. If you guys remember back in Madrid when Carlos played Djokovic, Djokovic started the match hitting the ball very big off his forehand. He hit it, they were showing the stats. He was hitting a lot bigger, like I think 5, 8, 10 miles an hour harder than he was the rest of the tournament with his forehand. He was kind of trying to speedball Carlos. And it worked for a while because Carlos wasn't able to just like take rips at the ball and just play the aggressive type he wants to play a lot of the time. And that worked for Djokovic for like the first set. And then he wasn't able to keep that speed up, and then it got into much more of a physical equal battle where they're both trying to fight for neutral ball rallies. And Sinner did that at Wimbledon, and then at Umag he did the same as well. But Carlos's reaction to the fastball is interesting to me, because when Carlos is really focused, maybe he has a lot of energy, maybe when he's playing his best, if he's getting speedballed, I've seen him react to that where he can just lock in, play good defense, like when he plays against Berrettini or something like that. 5 sets at the Australian Open, could have gone either way. He's able to sit back, play insane defense that he does with his movement, wait for his opportunities to attack, and then do that well. That's when he's playing his best. But if he's not playing his best, he can try and overhit his way out of that and just be like, no, I got to get on offense. I want to be on offense. I don't want to play defense right now. Or he'll try and hit, offensive winners from defensive positions where he probably shouldn't. Even for him, it's going to be a low risk or high risk shot. So I think as this match went on in Umag, Carlos resorted to the second option there, where he kind of tried to hit his way out of trouble there, not in the right positions, and maybe he just got tired. Maybe he was just not focused in the way he should have been. Maybe got a little bit rattled. Crazy to say for Carlos the Alcaraz, the 19-year-old sensation. But it kind of just, if my point is, if you're looking at these two results, he loses to Jannik twice. He lost him at Wimbledon, then he lost to Musetti in the final of Hamburg, where Carlos was the favorite, and then he just lost here. If you're shocked by these, or you're thinking that he's going in the wrong direction, or he's losing some of his sting, all that shows is how good he's been for so long this year. He's become one of the guys who we count on bringing his best tennis. He's barely lost to anyone below him all year. I think only like 2 times maybe. So he's played very well all year, way consistent above his years, way more consistent than Jannik Sinner, for example. So I'm really not concerned at all for Carlos, where his game's at, his level's at, and I'm super impressed by Jannik. That's what I got to say. So I'm excited to see both these guys, what they can do on the hard court swing. What do you guys think about the match? What do you think about what went down? And those are kind of my thoughts on the match. Huge win for Jannik. He said it's all about the process. He's working with Darren Cahill now, which I think is an awesome matchup. One of my favorite coaches in the game by far. So we'll see how these two young cats do on the North American, Canadian hard court swing and at the U.S. Open, and I just can't wait to see it. So that's the slice. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below, and smash all the links down below to support our channel. Appreciate you guys.